Okay, so let's see. Okay. So we started new chapter last time, and our topic was preference of blessing, laws of preference of blessing. It's Simon 55, and we're going to start Simon number 3. Okay, so it says, Kitzur now cites number of situations in which 7 species do not take precedence over other foods. So just to remind us what we said last time, actually Mishnah Brura and Moshe Feinstein that say that they do take precedence. So we're going to read whatever Kitzur said, and we're going to say how we paskin by. Okay. The bottom line: the superiority of 7 species is considered only once the fruit is fully developed, right? As we said, did we say before? Okay, I don't remember. Maybe we did not say, but we learned in Rambam when he said about like unhealthy food, bad foods for us. For all of the people, he said this in undeveloped fruits. It's like as a sword that is stuck to your body. That's how bad it is to these fruits. Okay, and many times they sell in the store. I mean, I'm trying not to buy, right? So they would pick them from the trees while they not developed, but they look very presentable, very marketable, and then people eat them, and it's not healthy. Okay. So they say if this species of 7, if fruit of the 7 species is undeveloped, so it does not has a precedence. Okay, does not have precedence. Okay, but the fruit that is not fully developed has no superiority based on its being one of the 7 species. For the verse does not extol the virtue of the land without something unfit for consumption. So it's a very, very interesting statement, right? So HaShem said in his Torah that the land of Israel is blessed with these fruits, and now you're given these undeveloped fruits, a little sour, like that was not the blessing. Number 12 commentary. The superiority of 7 species is based on a verse that extolled the land of Israel and promises these 7 species. Israel as possessing the 7 species, meaning the 7 species but the best quality. Therefore, if fruit is not one of which, the verse would extol the land. For example, it is not fully developed. It does not possess the quality of 7 species with regard to its to this halach. Meaning, yes, physically, yes, it's one of the 7 species, but halachically, I mean, meaning that they have some precedence over other fruits, it's not because they are undeveloped. Similarly, if he eats the food in a way that is not the usual manner of consumption, such as one chews wheat kernels, it does not take precedence. Okay, so let's do it one more time, this sentence, and there are a few commentaries, and we're going to explain. Similarly, if he eats the food in a way that is not usual manner of consumption, right, and that's a good example. Such one chews the wheat kernels. I mean, maybe in some culture they do chew on wheat kernels, but usually people don't, right? Usually they grind and make flour and make bread, right, or pastries or something. Number 13, consuming something in abnormal manner is referred as to chewing. Very interesting. This term is used here since eating kernels is not optimal manner of consuming wheat. See next note. Okay, so even though it says chewing, but it's actually eating. Maybe when they're fresh, they not fresh, meaning not dry. Maybe they chewable. I don't know. Okay, so one more time. Similarly, if one eats the food in a way that is not usually an usual manner of consumption, such as one who chews wheat kernel, it does not take precedence. So wheat is one of the 7 species, just to remind us. So it's one of the Mezonos. So, commentary. Wheat is usually ground into flour for bread and cake, or eaten as a cooked dish, right? As like hot cereal, right? In such a cases, the blessing is generally hamotzi or Mezonos, depending on what wheat is made into. Just 1 second. Precedes 1 second. So its blessing precedes that of the other species, meaning if it's a hamotzi or Mezonos, even if it's like other, even if he likes others better. So if as Mishnah Berurah, so if you have Mezonos, we said many times, it takes precedence. It's not because of likings, but because of importance. Chashuv, right? It's a very important food. Chashuvas. Continue. When the kernel are eaten raw or toasted, the appropriate blessing Borei Prichot Dama. So because we cannot say it is Mezonos because it's not satiate as much. I'm not sure how it's healthy to eat these raw kernels, but that's a different story. So on all of this we say Borei Prichot Dama. Because why Borei Prichot Dama? Because it's edible. If it would be like undeveloped, like fruits, you would not say blessing at all because it's not healthy. Okay. Continue. As Kitzur rules here, this blessing does not take precedence of the blessing of the fruit. Okay. So even though it's wheat of one of the 7 species, no precedence because it's not normal way of consumption. Continue. Next, Sif number 4. And it says, the next Sifim address cases in which food is given precedence due to the greater significance, chashuvas, right, of the blessing rather than due to their own significance. So one more time, the next Sifim address cases in which food is given precedence due to greater significance of its blessing rather than due to its own significance. Okay, so we'll see the examples. Significance of the blessings, not because of its own significance. Okay, not because of its own significance. We can assume it's like a smaller quantity compared to others ingredients. So let's see. If one has before him food whose blessing is Borei Prichot Eitz and Borei Prichot Dama, as well as something whose blessing is Shechako, and he wishes to partake of both, the blessing Borei Prichot Eitz and the blessing Borei Prichot Dama take precedence. There is one should recite blessing upon the food and partake it first. Okay. Okay. So let's continue maybe a little and we stop. For those blessings are more significant than the blessing of Shechako, since they are more specific. In that way, they are effective. They are effective only for the type of food. There is a ha'etz on fruit and ha'adama for vegetables. Whereas shechakol is blessing that encompasses many types of food. Even if he likes the food which blessing shechakol better, nevertheless he must give precedence to Borei Prichot Eitz or Borei Prichot Dama, and first recite the blessing upon the food that requires that blessing. Okay, so let's do from the beginning, and we're going to explain. So even though we spoke about like before, but here Kitzur again, I guess the topic here is a precedence, so that's why some things we learned before, but it's now it's in context. Okay. So one more time, if one has before him the foods whose blessing Borei Prichot Eitz and Borei Prichot Dama, as well as something whose blessing is Shechakol. So usually before we continue, just so we understand, there is such a thing as after the fact. Sorry. Meaning what? That if somebody made the wrong blessing, but after the fact it is true, so he's not allowed to make another blessing. So, for example, if he made on cherries the fruit of the ground, there is no problem. He can eat cherries and not allowed to make another blessing. Right? So that's a big problem. I know there is such opinion that if he likes, for example, a person has cherry and strawberry and he wants to make the blessing on the strawberry first, and he has intention to cover only strawberry, there is such opinion that it's possible to do, but majority of the poskim, they say don't do that. Just do priority. First is a fruit of the tree, meaning borei prichoetz, and then fruit of the ground, right? And then shechakol, of course. So commentaries say the halachos of blessing for shechakol, nichiyeh bidveroi, through whose words everything came into existence, set forth in Siman 52. Okay, yeah, we covered that. So there we said, just to remind us, everything that does not go from the ground, and liquids, except wine, of course. Okay. So a person has all three things. One is fruit, one is vegetables, and one is shechakol. Okay, and he wishes to partake all of them. The blessing of borei prichoetz, right? So the blessing of borei prichoetz and the blessing of borei prichodama takes precedence. There is one should recite blessing on that food and partake it first. So start with fruit. Make the blessing on the fruit. Eat fruit. Even you don't have to finish it. Just as we said before, like any amount is good. Any tiny amount, whatever you want to bite is good. Then you make a blessing on a vegetable and bite, chew and swallow, of course, whatever you want. So it's very important at least chew and swallow, because you're not allowed to make a next blessing. Okay, so when you make a blessing, as we said before, so your mouth must be free of any food. Okay, and then you say the blessing on shechakol. Okay, for those blessings, meaning on the fruit and on vegetables, more significant the blessing of shechakol, since they are more specific. So I would add, so just if a person made a mistake, right, and he said shechakol nichiyeh bidveroi on cherries, so cherries are covered after the fact, right? Whatever he said is not a full statement. So translation is through whose word everything came to be, meaning what, and including cherry, included absolutely everything, right? So that's the thing. So that's another reason why we put in this priority, because it's questionable if he said shechakol, are you allowed to say different blessing on the fruits and vegetables? Okay, so those blessing on fruits and vegetables more specific. In that they're effective only on only one type of food. It's on the fruit and hadama on vegetables, right? So the more specific it is, the more important it is. As we said, the more specific blessing is on the bread. Nothing else can be covered by the blessing on the bread. Okay, continue. But shechakol blessing encompasses many types of foods, and as we said, after the fact, I'm not sure what would not be covered by shechakol, like after the fact. I think everything. I mean, maybe I'm missing some, but maybe I don't remember. But I think like logically, everything should be covered after the fact, of course. Even if he likes this food, whose blessing is shechakol better, right? Whatever piece of cheese, right? And nevertheless, he must give precedence to borei prichoetz and borei prichodama. So in this case, you liking does not make any difference. Okay. And first recite the blessing upon the food that requires that blessing. So commentary. Both Hadama and Ha'etz blessing are considered specific double quotes blessings, and in relation to Shechakol blessing. So everything is relation. As we said, Shechakol can cover everything. Therefore, they take precedence despite the other factor present, such as desired food. So, and desired food, and even I would say, I'm not sure if he's going to mention, even if it's not complete, right? You have only half an apple, does not matter. Barepri Hadama and Barepri Ha'etz also take precedence of the Shechakol. Even Shechakol is being recited upon the 7 species. Shechakol is recited on 7 species. For example, upon date honey. Okay. Date honey. With regard to each other, however, although Ha'etz is somewhat more specific than Hadama, this is not taken into account when other factors are present. Okay, but as I said, we do take it into account. Because, otherwise you put yourself in questionable situations sometimes. Unless you have a specific intention that you want to include this and want to exclude this, better not to do that. Okay. Any questions on what we said?
Rabbi?
Yes.
So the blessing over, based on this part that mentions the wheat kernels when they're either raw or toasted, does that apply equally to corn kernels when they're toasted?
Yeah, usually people don't eat the way I understand this toasted kernels. But the example here was a little different. The point of that example was that wheat kernels is one of the 7 species. So wheat one of the 7 species. So even then, it does not take precedence. That was the point of that example. But corn kernels, I think, people don't usually eat it. Unless they must. Right. So it's also. Would you say Hadama? I think so, yes. Yes, go ahead. Any other questions?
Oh, yeah. So I was just confused, but yeah. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, yeah, that was the point of this example. Any other questions before we continue? Clear? Okay, no problem. So as I said, many of the things we covered in the past under a different angle, but here's the additional ideas. Okay, so number 5, the blessing Barep Mezonos also makes precedence of the blessing on wine, or over a blessing on wine. Yeah, Barep Hagafen. Okay, so one more time. So blessing on Baremine Mezonos takes precedence over the blessing on wine. So if you look at, you see that many people remember by heart. So you have in Me'am Shalos's blessing, you have three columns, like three additions. So first you have for Alamihia. Alamihia meaning when you ate Mezonos, like cookies, cakes, or pasta, or whatever you ate. Right, and the second column is the wine, and the third column would be fruits, like grapes and pomegranates and others. Right, so that's it's not randomly put in our siddur. Right, it's actually that's the precedence. Right, so first, if you for example you have a piece of cake, you don't have a meal, you just want to taste wine, or after the meal, let's say. So it's actually very interesting. Some Sephardim, what do? They eat main meal, they bench, say Birchas Hamazon, and then they eat sweets. So not, that's not to put yourself in that questionable situation. So in that case, for sure, you must, absolutely must, say all of the blessing on all of the desserts and cakes and fruits and others, right? But Ashkenazi custom, if you want, you can, but it's not necessary. So usually Ashkenazi custom do like you say the blessing inside of the meal, and then say Birchas Hamazon, which covers everything. So doesn't matter. But let's say it's after the meal, right? Or it's an end of the meal. Let's say end of the meal. It's not good. No, it's not a good example. Actually, let's say it's like separate sitting. It's not a meal like BeEzrat. So and you have cookies and you have wine and you have pomegranate, right? So first you say on a Mezonos always, then on the wine. So even though you like the wine better, and then on the fruits. Okay, fruits of the 7 species. So one more time from the beginning, the blessing of the Baremi Mezonos also takes precedence over the blessing on wine. So as we said, that's it's simple to remember. Just remember your sidura, how you say it after blessing. That's correct precedence. Continue, and most certainly, the blessing hamotzi takes precedence over the blessing of wine. Right. For hamotzi also takes precedence over the blessing Baremi Mezonos. Okay, so let's stop here before we continue, and there are commentary, and we're going to explain. The most certainly the blessing of hamotzi, so meaning on bread, takes precedence of the blessing on wine. So of course on Shabbos and holidays we must say kiddush, but it's an exception. It's not like a standard rule. So that's why we should cover the challah, all of bread or pita, whatever people use, doesn't matter, right? Why not to embarrass bread, right? That's one of the reasons. So why? What does it mean not to embarrass bread? Because bread usually is blessed first, right? During the other meals, not Shabbos and Yom Tov. And inside of this meal, then you want to drink wine, you say the blessing on the wine, right? But you start with bread. So here, because you must say kiddush on the wine, because without kiddush you're not allowed to eat. So it's like you have no choice. Yeah, but you have no choice. It's good, but bread is being embarrassed. So that's why we cover the bread. It's one of the reasons. Okay. So, but in not on Shabbos, on Yom Tov. So a person wants to eat. Right. So you say the blessing on hamotzi. Go wash your hands. Blessing on hamotzi, and then when you start eating, you say the blessing over the wine. Commentary. The wine which is significant and was accorded its own blessing. Wheat and barley are also subject of their own blessing. Hamotzi and Mezonos. When they are prepared as a cooked dish, a cake or bread. One more time, and we're going to explain. Like wine, which is significant and was accorded its own blessing, wheat and barley also subject to its own blessing. Hamotzi or Mezonos. Okay. When they are prepared as a cooked dish, cake or bread. So meaning Mezonos when it's as a cookies or as a cooked dish. So a cooked dish, what is it like spaghetti, pasta, whatever, it's all cooked dish. And since wheat and barley precede the wine in a verse list of 7 species, their blessing takes precedence over Hagafen. Okay. Okay. I mean that's what we learned from last time from the verse. Even for other fruits, right? We said the land. What is it? What is it? Wheat and barley. grapes and something. So the closer it's to the word land, so that the high precedence it has. So and there are two words of land. Somehow it's escaped my mind. Two words of land in one sentence, and actually the ones the two fruits that are closer to the word land is actually in the second part of the sentence. So it's olives, I think. So continue. Olives and dates, I think. Okay, so one second. Okay, and since the wheat and barley precedes the wine in the universe list of 7 species, their blessing takes precedence over Hagafen. So here's a practical explanation. Okay. Even hamotzi or Mezonos recited on food made from other grains, rye, oats, and spelt, take precedence over wine. Since these grains are considered subspecies of wheat and barley, and with respect to this halacha, see Mishnah Berurah 11:24. So even though we said seven species, it's actually 5 species of fruits and 2 species of grains, right? Biblically, but our rabbis say it's actually not 2 but 5, right? So they added rye, oats, and spelt. But even though they added it, I mean they derived it, does not make any difference for us. It's same halacha. When we say 5 species of that represent Mezonos, we said wheat and barley and rye and oats and spelt, all of them. That does not make a difference. It's in like in the written Torah or not in the written Torah. I mean we got it from tradition. That's it should be there. So, okay. Continue. Therefore, on Shabbos and Yom Tov, when one recites Kiddush on wine, one must cover the bread so that not to witness embarrassment. Yeah, that's from Talmud, right? So, right, not to witness embarrassment, that we give the President's blessing on wine, which is recited during the Kiddush over the blessing. And it's actually this concept is used in different areas of halacha. So if for example, somebody in the shul has some responsibility and the guy was doing it for a long time, so you cannot just jump in and do it like before him, right? So because why? It's going to be embarrassment, even though like nobody officially like appointed him, but since he was doing like more than 3 times and nobody objected, so that's chazaka. So he has a chazaka, he has a claim to it, right? So we cannot just take it away. So same is here. So if you want to do blessing on wine instead of regular bread, right? As we do regular bread, you have to cover the bread. Similar on Shabbos morning, when one recites Kiddush and afterwards eats types of food, in which blessing Bareminem is Mezonos, he must cover such a food in the time of Kiddush. And it's very, very important thing. Okay, so it's actually, it's only last sentence with Baruch HaShem that Kitzur reminds us. Not only bread must be covered, but all of the other Mezonos foods. But I think, it does not say here, but if I remember correctly, it's only from the bread family, meaning the things of Mezonos that were baked. Some of them that was cooked, there is no problem. If you have pasta, like pasta salad on your table, you don't have to cover. But if you have crackers, if you have cakes or all of these beautiful things, so you must cover. So take a napkin, cover, and that's it. So we try to cover everything that is going to be used in that meal, like whatever is on the counter, like next to the table. We try to cover all of the things, not to embarrass them before doing Kiddush. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Okay. if no questions, so I recommend everybody to get this set. And I just received a mail from them, from ArtScroll. They have a free shipping, no minimum. So I was actually planning to buy a book, and so for the shipping, you have to spend $50. And that book, of course, is less than $50, so that's a good opportunity to buy. It's only there for 2 days. Very nice. Okay, so let's see. Summary of the laws of the precedence of blessing. Okay. The following is the order based on the Kitzur ruling in our Simon that is to be followed by reciting the blessing on various foods. Okay, so let's go over the precedence. I mean, he has so many commentaries, but okay. So the number one thing that always takes precedence is the hamotzi. And commentary says, in order of preferences, wheat bread, barley bread, spelt bread, rye bread, and oats bread. So meaning what? Meaning if you have like dinner rolls, like small bread, right, and of different kind, and of course you need to say only one blessing, of course, right? So it's you say the first blessing on a wheat bread, then on barley bread, because those two, as we said before, mentioned explicitly in the Torah. Then spelt rye bread and oats bread. Okay, so meaning if you have like more than one, so that's the priority. Okay. See Mishnah Berurah 168, 12 and 13. Okay. A note: rye bread sold commercially is produced with majority of the wheat flour and should be treated as the wheat bread. For the further rules regarding the presence of various types of bread. Okay, so again, rye bread, wherever we buy rye bread, and whatever even we made in a house rye bread, so I think it's only 25% of rye flour. It's like, I mean, it looks darker, not exactly like brown, but it's much darker, but it's only 25%. So if I mean, maybe there's some recipe you can do like all rye flour. I'm not sure, but it's very heavy. This bread is very, very heavy. I don't think it's very healthy. Okay. So continue. So if you have bread, so we have as we say hamotzi. So next in precedence list is the Mezonos. Okay, continue. Then you say Recrettably Hagafen. So if you have bread, it's one thing. So if you don't have bread, so you say Mezonos, or you say then you say Hagafen. Number 4, desired fruit or vegetables. And of course we said a little different, so let's see the commentary, and we're going to explain. According to Mishnah Berurah, the desired fruit or vegetable takes precedence only with regard to sequence of blessing. It is when one has ha'etz and ha'adama. When both I don't want to confuse it, but okay. When both ha'etz and ha'adama, a fruit of the 7 species, when both ha'etz or ha'adama, a fruit of 7 species, and whole fruit or vegetables take precedence over the desired fruit or vegetables. Okay, so it's not the desired fruit, right? So it's if you have one of the 7 species takes precedence. If you have something that is whole, and whatever your preferred fruit is cut, so you say on a whole fruit, right? Okay. Okay, continue. 5. Fruit of the 7 species: olive, dates, grapes, figs, and pomegranate. I mean, let's just, I apologize. I mean that's not how we paskin. So that's from Kitzur. So one more time. I mean, we respect Kitzur, but the bottom line is a little different. So we say Hamotzi, so that's the bottom line. Hamotzi, then Mezonos, Hagafen, meaning on wine, then fruits of the 7 species, meaning olive, date. So olive, date, as we said, you see I got it right. Takes precedence. Usually people, pickle olive, yeah, people eat, yes. Date, then grapes, then fig, then pomegranate. Okay. So two olive and dates, it's from the second part of the sentence, and 3 from the first part of the sentence. Okay. Then desire fruit. Then actually the whole fruits, and then desire fruits. Then ha'etz, right? If you don't have all of this, ha'etz, ha'adama, and shechakol. Okay, that's it. All right, no problem. So any questions on what we said, or we continue? Tell me. We finished that chapter of the Precedence.
Rabbi?
Go ahead, please.
Can you please repeat again the right order, how it is post-game, because...
Okay, I apologize. It's a little confusing, so I read the text. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so first Precedence is hamotzi. So on bread, you have bread. All others are irrelevant. Even though like it's a piece of stale bread and you have a nice juicy steak, does not make any difference, right? So you say first blessing on hamotzi, then if you don't have bread, right? So second blessing on Mezonos. So Mezonos, if you have also Mezonos have a precedence, right? So if you have Mezonos meaning baked, something baked like I don't know, like cake or even crackers or something, so you would say the blessing on that. And if you have in the same meal you have pasta, so on pasta would be covered automatically. So I would say baked Mezonos. If no baked Mezonos, of course cooked Mezonos. Cooked, it could be ravioli, it could be pasta, spaghetti, all of these lots of things. So it's second. And third is wine. So of course, if you on wine, of course, if you eat bread and you want to drink wine, you must say blessing on wine because it's not covered. Okay, that's wine is number 3. Then the number 4 is the fruit of the 7 species, and we say even if it's cut, it's not whole, it's cut, it takes precedence. Then the whole fruit, right? Because it's there is some importance. It's like I don't want to say leftover, but in some sense it's leftover. So if Hashem blessed with a whole fruit, why you making blessing on a half or a quarter of fruit? Okay. So and next one is regular fruit, right? And after that is chadama, the fruit of the ground, the vegetables, and after that is shechakol. So that's the blessings. Of course, there is some exception. What is covered by bread, what is not covered by bread. But I don't want to confuse it. That's already covered that before. So that's the precedence. One more time: bread, Mezonos, wine, fruits of the 7 species, then whole fruits, then the whole fruits. Then I apologize, I missed one. The fruits that you like. Okay, so if, there are a few fruits like cherries and apples and oranges, and you like oranges. So of course you make on oranges. There is no problem. If all of them are cut, so or all of them are whole, you make the blessing on orange. Right? Then chadama, a fruit of the ground, and then shechakol, meaning everything else. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes.
So it is in a different order in the Kitzur. Why is that? Is it because of the custom or?
Yes. So few things that I think that's Kitzur has a little different. I don't exactly remember. Okay, in Shulchan Aruch, there are like a few opinions. Sometimes he says, some say. And some say sometimes in the commentary, it could be one authority, and could be many authorities, right? So most of the time, me personally, I don't know when he says some say who said it. So in order that you have to be Talmid Chacham and learn a lot of books and see and remember whose opinion is what. You understand? So for a Kitzur, of course, he knew all of this. So sometimes it's only a few times, but sometimes he would decide differently. He would go by minority opinion because of I don't know, because of some reasons. But we go like after him was Mishnah Brura. So Mishnah Brura is actually concluded, and it's more extensive than Kitzur. Okay, that's what we passing by. And plus, Rabbi Feinstein, so because he lived later, but he was, as people say about him, he was not from this world. Simply, right? He was above. And he also we have his opinion, but he just adds things like different perspective. It's not like he said done like a totally different thing. Okay. Any other question? Okay. So let's at least start next sieve. So it's sieve 56, and it's very important. Sieve. I mean, everything is important. Kitzur is like shortened version. It's only very like the bottom line, right? And topic is the laws regarding errors in blessing, and that's what we must remember. Okay, this Simon discusses the halachos pertaining to one mistakenly uttered blessing that was inappropriate for food upon which it was recited. Okay, so as we had today, B'siyata Dishma, we said this example. So after the fact, Shechakol would cover most of the things. Okay, so on Sif number 1. If one erred and recited the blessing, sorry, Baremine Mezonos, who created species of nourishment, on actual bread, rather than requiring blessing Chamotzi, Lechem Min Chaoretz, who brings the bread from the earth, or recited Chamotzi on Kisnin bread, rather than Mezonos, we're going to explain, he has fulfilled his obligation. Okay, let's stop here. We're going through from the beginning, and we're going to explain. If one erred and recited blessing Baremine Mezonos on actual bread, so you have bread, like bread, regular bread, and he said Baremine Mezonos, so after the fact, whatever person said is not true. It is a true statement, right? Because bread is something that nourishes. Of course, it's not correct blessing. It's only after the fact. But we're trying to see if after the fact whatever he said is true. Okay, so if it's true, we just leave him alone. Let him continue eating, right? So one more time. So he said Baremine Mezonos on bread rather than blessing Chamotzi Lechem Min Chaoretz. Okay, or recited Chamotzi blessing on Kisnin bread rather than Mezonos. So Kisnin bread, we said all these cookies and cakes and crackers, all of these things. So meaning Kisnin bread is we usually call it as a bread family. So it has some looks and attributes of bread. So it has some crust. It was baked in the oven or baked on top of the stove, but it looks like a little bread. Okay, so commentary, and not look, but it has attributes. Made from the same dough even. Commentary. See above Simon 48 for definition of Kisnin bread and how a certain proper of blessing for different preparation of grain products. Okay, I mean that's what we just discussed. Continue. So he has fulfilled his obligation. So after the fact, if on regular bread he said Baremine Mezonos, or he said Chamotzi on a Kisnin bread, meaning these cakes, so after the fact is no problem. And I just want to remind one topic that we covered. So we said if person is prepare to have a big meal from this Mezonos, and he's going to eat what do you say, like 8 ounces, like 8 ounces of this cake, or a cake and plus other foods. So it does not have to be 8 ounces, but it's like his meal, right? And meaning, let's say he ate 4 ounces, and all other omelets and salads and this and that. So this Mezonos is going to be 100% bread. He would need to go wash and say hamotzi on this, right? So sometimes on these cookies and cakes you do say hamotzi. So it's not such a far-fetched statement. Of course, it's not correct to start with this if you have no intention to eat so much and it's not your meal. You want to just eat a piece of cake with your coffee. Of course, it's not going to be considered a meal, but after the fact, it's not false statement. So commentary. After the fact, Mezonos is effective on bread, right? As it is general blessing for grain products. Okay, Mishnah Brura, etc. See note 15, very interesting, regarding one who recite Mezonos on other foods. And we're going to see, because Mezonos translate who creates a species of nourishment, and some things they do nourish. I think on the wine, after the fact, if you say Mezonos on a wine, it should cover. And I think on figs also it should cover. There is such opinion on figs because they're very filling. Okay, continue. Si nishmat Adam, glosses to Chaye Adam, for the basis of the ruling that one who recite hamotzi on kisnin bread has fulfilled his obligation. Okay, so kisnin bread, again, these cakes, right? Rabbi Moshe finds, and here we go, Igris Moshe Yoreh, number 3, advises that such a case, a scrupulous individual should eat no more than minimal amount that he consumed following the blessing. Okay, so exactly as we said before. So Moshe finds itself just adds. So he said, don't put yourself in this situation. If you already did, okay, no problem. Just eat a little, whatever is minimum amount, and stop, and then do an interruption of the blessing, and then say the right blessing. Okay. Again, you're not obligated, but scrupulous individuals should do it. So people try to be Hasidim in do stringencies in areas that absolutely not necessary, and in places when Shulchan Aruch said it's better to do this, they just have not aware. Who, like all of them, all people who ask me for stringencies, so I tell all of them no, and ask them if they know these minimal requirements, and no one ever over the years knew the minimum of the minimum requirements, unfortunately. Okay, so continue. But if one mistakenly decides the hamotzi blessing over the cooked dish, even one made from one species of grain, he has not fulfilled his obligation. Such dishes cannot in any way qualify as bread. So bread, as we said, it has its own properties, right? It was baked, this and that, so without water. I mean, water meaning it was not cooked in the water. So cooking and baking, two separate processes, right? So all of this, so hamotzi is not going to work on pasta. Commentary: with barley, oats, and spelt, and rye. Okay, so they say even if this pasta, I apologize, was made from wheat, barley, oats, spelt, and rye. For example, he recite hamotzi on a dish of oatmeal or pasta. Okay, for which the proper blessing is Mezonos. So somebody asked me just recently about the blessing on oatmeal. So this person, for a health reason or whatever, he needs to eat this oatmeal. So that's normal way of eating this oatmeal, right? As a cereal. So you say baremina Mezonos. Hamotzi is decided only on a baked bread made from grain of 5 species, on bread, and after the fact, as we said, cakes and cookies. Okay, so if he did, one more time, if he recited hamotzi on the cooked dish, he has not fulfilled his obligation, since such a dish cannot in any way qualify as bread. So because in the wording you say who created this bread. Okay, so I mean Hashem, bread has nothing to do with pasta. Continue. If one erred and recited the blessing Recrettably, Hagafen, who created the fruit of the wine on grapes, he has fulfilled his obligation. I'm not sure what's the connection. If one erred and recited the blessing Recrettably, Hagafen on grapes, I apologize. So on fresh grapes, he said Recrettably, Hagafen, who created the fruit of the wine. So after the fact, just think about it, like logically, the grapes are fruit of the wine. There is no problem. It's not a correct blessing, but after the fact, it is okay. Commentary. The blessing Recrettably, Hagafen, who created the fruit of the wine, has instituted to be recited on wine. Was instituted. Not on grapes. Okay. The proper blessing on grapes is Recrettably, Hagafen, who created the fruits of the tree. Okay. No problem. So after the fact, if somebody says Recrettably, Hagafen on grapes, no problem, or raisins, doesn't matter. Covered. So too, if one erred in his recitation of Bracha Achrana, the final blessing on after eating grapes, and he recited the blessing on Hagafen on wine. Hagafen for wine, rather than Hagafen for the tree, has fulfilled his obligation. For the grapes are to the fruit of the fruit of the wine. So and same is first blessing. If he said Recrettably, Hagafen on this on grapes, and same with the after blessing, right? So if he said Hagafen on grapes. So there is no problem. Even he had to say the fruit, meaning Hagafen, but after the fact, it is correct. I mean it's true statement. Commentary. The blessing Hagafen, so I mean on after the wine, is recited after drinking wine, and Hagafen after eating fruit of the 7 species, including grapes. Okay, so that's the thing. So let me see. Time is it? I think we can stop here. So very, very productive, I think. Okay, any questions on what we said or did not say, any topic?